Alright, so we are here at the top of Torghast, where the Banshee Queen awaits us.
I am Nazgrim, Fist of the War Chief, and General of the Horde.
Bleed for the Grand Magistrates!
I must die today.
With Ouroboros in peril, a desperate battle at the pinnacle of the sanctum begins. Standing between the jailer and the mortals who would stop him is Sylvanas Windrunner. With no masks left to wear, the Banshee Queen unleashes her full power to protect the Banished One, while his ultimate plan unfolds.
Die today. I will die with honor.
Not really sure what exactly is going on here in terms of her not being attackable at the moment. I think something has to wait, perhaps more people or something for it to trigger. I'm not sure. But anyways, this is obviously a battle that has been a long time coming and very anticipated. People have been waiting a long time for this battle, and some people were even saying they hoped it never would happen. Like, there were some people who were really dreading the idea of having to fight their beloved Banshee Queen, and were, like, considering just outright not doing it or refusing to do so. So, anyways. Yeah, I personally have been waiting for this for quite some time, and, yeah. So, for the record, I've only had a little bit of experience with this fight on normal. I have taken her down on normal with my guild, and we have not reached her yet in heroic. So, yeah. Grab food. Cookies, please. We have a warlock, so I know we can have cookies.
Azeroth's champions, you've arrived at last. Despite witnessing the broken cycle of life and death with your own eyes, still, you would stop us from remaking this flawed system. What a pity.
There are no more Valkyr to protect you, Sylvanas. You will die here.
I have many lucky doos you like.
The Archer does not mourn the loss of their arrows, High Lord. A shame you won't survive to witness our victory. But if it's an ending you seek, then come and meet it.
I do hope to get that bow someday on my hunter. So this fight is, it's something.
Very well. The death it is!
She has a crap ton of health, as you can see. Look at that health. And look at how slow her health is moving. She also has some abilities that are absolutely crazy and insane. The chain mechanic. Now, this is important to actually get rid of something. It's interesting. Like, she can put a debuff on you, and you can only get rid of that debuff if you get chained to a domination arrow. But you have to make sure that if you don't have it, that you get out of the way, that doesn't grab you, and that'll actually grab a raid mate who does have that debuff. Ooh, gotta get out of this. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and pop Army of the Dead. Just kind of help get through this whole thing a little faster. Yeah.
I never miss. The past shackles you.
You're one to talk, Sylvanas. She's like, the past shackles you. I'm like, excuse me? Hypocrite much? Yeah, if you came here to hear somebody talk positively about Sylvanas, you're at the wrong place. I've made this clear from the very beginning for a long time. I have never liked Sylvanas. Even going back to Warcraft 3. Don't get me wrong, I would have wanted or liked to have actually liked Sylvanas' character, because there are things about her I do feel sorry for. But I can't feel sorry for someone who ended up murdering a bunch of innocent people. You know, civilians. It's the same reason I can't feel sorry for someone like Garrosh or support someone like Garrosh. Sylvanas and Garrosh, to me, fall in the same category. So yeah, at this point, we're definitely supposed to try and get rid of those arrows to try and help out our teammates who does have that, because if they get dragged to it... By the way, notice Bolvar and Thrall and Jaina are helping us in this fight. I love that Bolvar went to go attack the arrows to help us out. I think that's a really nice little touch, that they're not just standing back there and watching us fight Sylvanas. They're actually here helping us fight Sylvanas. Because how many times have we seen in these raids, even going back to just the last one, Nathria, where Renathal and the others would just kind of stand back there and watch us fight, as opposed to actually helping us. This is the big one right here to end it, where now we're just kind of... We can't attack Sylvanas, so we're just trying to actually... Look at how far back my arrow is. Way over here. But yeah, you can't attack Sylvanas right now, so she's doing these things like the mechanic from the 9 and Denathrius. We just have to avoid that, otherwise it's going to kill you.
Your lives end here.
Cutscene time.
Your efforts are futile. Oribos is within my grasp. No! We will stop you! Jaina, we need a portal. The jailer must not take the Eternal City!
Something is limiting my magic. Where are we?
Behind our quarry. Heroes with me!
This one's mine! Is the jailer trying to break out the mob? Or something else?
Blood and thunder!
It's been a while since I've heard Metzen say that. Blood and thunder!
By the light. He's expanding the maw around Oribos.
Open the way! Go! Stop Sylvanas!
So yeah, Thrall hasn't lost all of his shaman powers.
This power is not yours!
I shattered your throne. Now I'll break you.
Yeah, I haven't forgotten that, Sylvanas.
Your crusade ends here, Banshee.
By the way, notice Jaina over there?
Heroes! I need aid! Hear the sound of
Jaina needs our strength.
Thrall, scout ahead. Champions will assist the Admiral.
Oh, that hurt. Someone interrupted that cast, otherwise I think we would have wiped.
My defenses falter!
All hope is lost!
We need to
So yeah, just hold the, you know...
Is there no end?
Oh, okay. So we didn't catch Sylvanas fast enough to interrupt that cast, so... Yeah, if we don't interrupt that cast, it's an instant wipe, basically. So.
the attack. The jailer must be stopped.
At long last, we will have justice.
So, you wouldn't believe how many times somebody would accidentally, fall crossing those bridges. And I thought to myself, why don't they just do what I'm doing, which is, what I do in this case is I hold the right mouse button, and I just use that to kind of, angle the camera so I can make sure I don't, run through any holes or anything, just to try and make sure that I don't die that way, because at that point it's just kind of like, okay, that's something I could have easily avoided and didn't. Anyways. Whoops. I hope it gets us... Yeah, we should have this one spot here filled. An extra DPS would be nice. There we go. Alright. We do have 5 hunters in here. Now, what's funny, in case you're curious, let me just go ahead and clarify this, because I'm sure some of you are going to wonder. You cannot get the bow from Sylvanas in LFR. So this is her normal gear. There's the bow. Right there. You cannot get the bow in LFR. So if you're thinking about using LFR to farm getting this bow in your hunter, you won't be able to do it. And I really do want this bow. I think this bow looks awesome. And I really want it for my hunter. So... But yeah, yeah, I don't really need anything here on my Death Knight other than maybe an upgraded conduit, but I think I already have this, so... Plus, there's Transmog, so I wouldn't mind having the shoulders for Transmog, so... But that's basically it. I'm just doing this to show it to you guys, the encounter. This is much more so for my alts, but anyways...
Sever your soul from your body.
Very well. Death it is!
Actually, maybe lusting wouldn't be that great of an idea. So, there's a couple of ways you can go about utilizing bloodlust in this fight. One, you could either do it on pull and try to get through this first phase as fast as you can. The other is to wait until the final phase, which basically, from what I understand, becomes a race against time. You notice how many of those are in this raid? How many encounters in this raid are become a race against time at a certain point, like in the final phase of the fight? I mean, Terragru has an Enrage. Eye of the Jailer has an Enrage. Guardian has an Enrage. Fate Scribe has, you know, the 10-minute Enrage thing, if you do the mechanics too slow. And Kel'Thuzad. Because in the final phase, those patches of ice and such, I believe, don't go away. So at that point, it's just a matter of trying to DPS him how fast as you can before you run out of room. So yeah, there's quite a bit of enraged fights in this raid. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just kind of an interesting observation. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I'm a DK. I really shouldn't be focusing on that. That's more so for the range DPS in this fight.
I always hit my mark. No mercy.
By the way, in case you guys are curious... Oh, sorry. That was me not paying attention. I'm currently at 234. Got some pieces here and there from... mainly from normal, but I have a couple from heroic. Although, one of them I did get from... I got this from the weekly from last week, which was, hey, do 4 mythics and you'll get a heroic piece. And I was like, oh, okay. And I got the weapon. I was just so surprised. I was like, oh. Okay. Alright, so here is that, Ah! Alright, really do need to just focus on the arrows. You can't really do anything with... By the way, notice how many people are dying to this? Because you can see part of the issue is that if you get slowed by your arrow and then you're kind of caught in the middle of that, you can't really do anything about getting out of the way.
Your lives end here.
Oh, spread. Alright, so let's see how many actually skip it. By the way, I turned off both Bigwigs and DBM just so I can make sure that I could actually show you guys all the possible cutscenes and such this fight has to have. So, yeah. So, yeah, we just need to get Sylvanas' health to 50%. That's why her health is going down so slowly and why she has so much of it.
Where are we?
Behind our quarry. Heroes with me!
Is the jailer trying to break out of the maw? Or something else?
You also gotta avoid those. But it's okay to get hit by those as long as you don't fall off to your death.
He's expanding the maw around Erebos!
Let me see if I can get a shot of that. I know, I'm getting distracted when I shouldn't be because of the, Now, this right here should not be my particular... Yeah, there we go.
I shattered your throne. Now I'll break you.
So I'm trying to show, because we still just have that shot over there, which is Torghast. there's supposed to be a shot where we can actually... Oh, there it is, right there. You see that? That is supposed to be Ouroboros. And the Maw is kind of surrounding it. So while we're fighting Sylvanas, the Jailer is moving, like, the Maw forces to surround Ouroboros so he can be able to take the Arbiter's Sigil. That's why what she's doing here is kind of a big deal. Because all she's really doing is, like, trying to delay us as much as we possibly can so that the Jailer can finish his plan to get the final sigil that he needs.
There's too many of them!
If you get hit by that, you get this debuff here, Veil of Darkness, which is annoying. Because it does give you some, you know, you're basically causing damage to your raid mates. Not a good thing.
My defenses falter! Much longer on his own. We need to reach him.
And there's the cast. Which at that point just wipes us.
Is there no end to these creatures?
So yeah, the moment that bridge goes up, somebody has to quickly just, you know, especially a ranged interrupt, like a mage or a hunter, somebody has to quickly get as close as they can to Sylvanas to interrupt that cast, otherwise we all wipe.
I have many, many wares.
Well, I already feel like this is a, You guys remember when I did my video on the LFR Denathrius fight? Now, on harder difficulties, Denathrius, of course, is a tougher fight. I have fought that boss on Heroic. I didn't get the AOTC against him. My guild did, but I was busy that night with work, so I couldn't join them for that AOTC kill. But I did have plenty of pulls with them trying to help them get it. And, yeah, on hard difficulties, it is a rough fight. But at the time, I was mainly trying to compare it to the N'Zoth fight in LFR, how it took us multiple pulls against N'Zoth to do so while we just simply one-shot Denathrius. Here, it already feels like this is a rougher fight. Now, from what I've been hearing, and because I was also kind of checking out the World First race at the time, some of the, you know, the top guilds like Limit and the guild that got the world first kill on her, Echo? Yeah, Echo. Forgive me, I'm North America. I tend to remember Limit more so than Echo, even though I did you know, think what they did was awesome. I was like, wow, those guys did a great job. I can definitely appreciate that. And I got nothing against EU. I don't understand why people feel this need to have this vitriol, just toxicity and poison towards each other instead of just simply, you know, I'm North American. I got nothing against EU. Why would I? You know, we're all in this together. At least we should be. You know. Yeah, there's a reason in fiction, like, they'll look at us and be like, why do humans fight amongst each other? You're all the same species. Shouldn't you all be working together? You know, it's like in Mass Effect, you know, they don't care about Americans or Europeans or Africans or Australians or Asians. They don't care about that. They just see humans. That's it. You know? So maybe we should probably start thinking more that way. I don't know. But anyways, I guess the point I was trying to make is that I don't care about if it's NA or EU. I can have an appreciation for guilds doing something really well. And what Echo did in this fight on Mythic was excellent. It was one of the cleanest world first kills I have ever seen. And that's not just coming from me. That's coming from some other people who are far better at this game than I am. But what they were saying when it came to discussing this fight was that they were not too fond of how it was set up and designed. That whole sequence that we keep wiping to, they were not fond of it. They considered it one of the weaker aspects of this fight because we're not really necessarily fighting her. We're going through a gauntlet in order to continue the fight. And, well, gauntlets are not exactly considered very fun now, are they? How many of you remember Mount Hyjal back in Burning Crusade? I'm sure some of you that perhaps, although I'm not sure why you'd be watching one of my videos on Shadowlands, but if you were one of those who plays WoW Classic Burning Crusade, you may possibly be getting ready to do that. And to this day, people consider it the absolute worst raid ever. And you know why? One of the main reasons was... oh, gosh. I'm sorry, I just noticed what's going on in the chat here. Yeah, I expect chat for the Sylvanas fight at times is going to get pretty... yeah, pretty nasty. Pretty bad, but anyways. Anyways. Gosh, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah. The thing that everyone hated about the Mount Hyjal raid was that you had to go through a gauntlet of ads in order to get the boss to spawn. And if you wiped on the boss, congratulations, you have to do that entire gauntlet all over again. And you can imagine why this made people just dread having to do Mount Hyjal. I dread it myself going back and farming it. Now, that's only because, see, here's the thing. I don't really have to worry about wiping to those bosses, because I can one-shot those bosses now. But imagine if that was current content like this is, and every time we wiped to Sylvanas, we had to go through a gauntlet of trash to face her all over again. That's what Mount Hyjal was like. Yeah. And see here, and that's kind of what the second phase of this fight feels like. A gauntlet that we have to get through just to try and, finish the fight.
Very well. Death it is!
Oh, that damage that she does there.
taint you.
Now, I was going to say that what's kind of funny about this fight, and this is something that I've kind of pointed out before with other fights like this, is that sometimes they'll have abilities named in a way that makes you go, I've heard that before somewhere. You know, like Wailing Arrow, Wind Runner. Like, I've heard of these abilities before. Where have I heard them before? I am, of course, referring to, ooh, that's a good place for that. I am referring to, Heroes of the Storm. Forgot it for a moment there.
Darkness take you. I always hit my mark.
And here come the big multiple arrows phase. Just gotta avoid getting hit by the big line. Slow the arrows as fast as you can. Here we go. Just stay alive. Stay alive. We can't really damage her right now, so we're just having to stay alive. Don't run across the line.
Your lives end here.
Stay spread. Alright, so everyone's alive. Good, good, good.
Something is limiting my magic. Where are we?
Behind our quarry. Heroes with me!
Is the jailer trying to break out of the maw? Or something else?
Ow. Oh gosh.
He's expanding the maw around Oribos!
Open the way! Go! Stop Sylvanas!
The Banshee is aiming at our heads! This power is not yours!
I shattered your throne. Now I'll break you.
Okay, so 3 people died. They must have fallen through the holes, maybe. I don't know. It does become rather embarrassing when you end up falling through the hole to your death.
Heroes! I need aid! Hear the sound of suffering!
With me, champions! Jaina needs our strength!
Thrall, scout ahead! Champions will assist the admiral!
There's too many of them!
Gosh, moments like that, I'm really glad I'm a Necrolord. A Necrolord DK, that is.
Thank you, Bolvar.
So yeah, this, you know, where I'm covered in shadow and such. So now that she does that from behind... So yeah, every half second, absorbs healing, bypasses this absorb. Yeah, it's nasty.
All hope is lost.
Range interrupt needs to get ready here. Go, 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 go.
Suffering.
Sylvanas means to bring our hopes. Stop these creatures.
There we go. Alright, we got through that fast. That's good. That's a good sign.
The attack. The jailer must be stopped. Their forces are numberless.
Fall into oblivion.
I am in your debt, hiding. Heroes, to me! Let's regroup with Jaina.
Oh, there she goes. Someone interrupted. Someone interrupted. Yes.
Done.
The hunter was on top of that. Very nice.
Pay. All of you will pay.
Alright, so this is basically going to be the end of this phase here.
Have to do this.
You always
Surrender.
were weak. Suffer my wrath.
Everybody get in here. Group hug. Oh, oh.
Sylvanas, give Anduin to me.
Hear the sound of suffering.
Oh crap. Oh crap. Oh. I am Shadowlocked now.
This is being enveloped by the maw. A little longer. The portal's nearly open. It's done.
Ooh.
Hurry.
Anduin.
The jailer is going to destroy the Arbiter.
Quickly, champions! Stop Sylvanas!
Death bends to my will.
So this is funny. Anduin is down there fighting Thrall, Bolvar, and Jaina. We are up here fighting Sylvanas. This is the enrage, I think, here.
Nothing escapes my wrath.
Ow. That hunter needs to get out of here. And I think we just wiped. So yeah, that was the first time we saw that. So you saw that they had the arrow indication on them. At that point, they are supposed to jump to from this platform here to that one over there, because there's something over there that can let them kind of leap over there. So that way they can have it cast on that area and not have it do big damage.
You always were weak. Hit my The cycle will be broken. At long last, we will have justice.
Many deals for a friend of the Grummels. Like you.
Yep. And of course, some people are leaving. Alright, so now you guys have seen us get through the second phase and get to the third phase, which as you saw, is us being in Ouroboros where the jailer is trying to take the sigil from the Arbiter. So, we then get some of these, including the Wailing Arrow, where she launches an arrow at a player, which does damage and inflicts that much to all other players, decreasing damage based on distance. That's why you then jump to the other platform, because once it hits you and you're farther away, it does less damage to the rest of the raid. So it may not do that much to yourself, but it does a lot more damage to the rest of the raid based on how far away from them you are. You don't just go to a corner of the platform, you jump to the other platform and there's going to be something there to do that for you. So that is important to know, because as you saw, because those two particular players did not do that, it caused a wipe. So yeah, and that's what allows us to be able to traverse the arena and go from platform to platform, is with that particular field there. So, anyways. Well, as always, whenever I experience this in LFR and people leave, I'm hoping that the people that replace them are not only strong players, but also players who, of course, know what to do when it comes to the mechanics. But then again, this is LFR, so... So we could end up being here as long as we were with N'Zoth, because we're already here longer than we were with Denathrius, so... See, if I'm the Warlock, I should be thinking, oh, new people came in, let me make some cookies for them. But, no.
Very well. Death it is!
Look, for a brief moment I was doing 10k damage at the top of the meter. For a brief moment, I was glorious.
I always hit my mark.
It was very brief, but for that brief moment, I was magnificent.
Darkness take you.
You know, there are 3 other DKs here, so I hope they consider, maybe I should go ahead and help out with some of the other defensives like the AMZ. I always find it funny some of the patterns that Sylvanas does with her attack. I'm like, what are you doing?
I never miss.
Ah, yes, of course. I never miss. Now, as usual, I hope you guys have probably, for those of you who have perhaps been like regular viewers of my channel, that you would know that one of the things that I always love to praise when I can is good voice acting. And while I may not like the Sylvanas character, I've never spoken ill about her voice actress. It's the same thing with Garrosh. I may hate Garrosh, but I really do like the voice actor. I have an appreciation for what I consider to be good voice acting. And if I hear it and I can give praise to it when I can, I'm gonna do that. Regardless if I like the character or not. Alright, so now we just go to the outside and survive. You'll notice we're not doing any damage here at this point.
Your lives end here.
Like, during that phase, there's literally no reason to attack her, considering that she doesn't take any damage, so you may as well just spread out and try to stay alive until, you know, to get to this next phase here.
Something's limiting my magic. Where are we?
Behind our quarry. Heroes with me!
Is the jailer trying to break out of the maw? Or something else?
Again, if you do this, yeah, you may get hit by this, but taking some damage from that is not as bad as falling to your death.
He's expanding the maw around Oregon.
I've opened the way. Go! Stop Sylvanas!
Watch the holes.
Aiming at our heads. This power is not yours.
I shattered your throne. Now
Oh my gosh.
Your crusade ends here.
all hope is lost. Heroes, I need aid. Hear the sound of suffering.
I don't understand why this is something that some people apparently struggle with.
Strength.
Use your camera to do this, to make sure you don't fall.
There's too many of them.
It's so easy, and yet some people just don't do it for some reason.
All hope is lost.
Quickly, champions! Stop Sylvanas!
Notice I'm doing this every time. Even on that narrow part of the bridge right there. Just look at where you're running, and you'll be fine.
Defenses falter!
It just kind of, like, keep in mind, this is not something that is exclusive to LFR. This just came out in LFR. This is something I was experiencing, like, with my own raid, you know, guild raid group. And I was like, even our raid leader was getting frustrated about it. It's like, come on, guys. It's way too easy to avoid dying to that.
Stop her!
You just do this,
To these creatures!
and you'll be fine. I mean, look at this. We've already lost 6 people. No, I'm sorry, 5. For a moment, I thought 6, and I don't know, maybe somebody res? No, never mind. 6.
I am in your debt, rival. Heroes, to me! Let's regroup with Jaina.
And she got the cast off.
Out of
Okay.
Orbis is being enveloped by the maw. Hold them back a little longer. The portal's nearly open. It's done. Hurry!
No! The jailer is going to destroy the Arbiter!
Quickly, champions! Stop Sylvanas!
Death bends to my will!
You always
The cycle will be broken. At long last, we will have justice.
I have many lucky doos you like. I have many, many wares.
Very well. Death it is!
I was just taking a moment to check if I was the only one in my guild left online.
Darkness takes my mark. You are unfit to stand against me.
Again, notice she's not taking any damage right now. There's literally no point to attacking her right now.
Your lives end here.
So you just spread out. And of course, they don't. They're not paying attention to this. It's LFR. Why should I be, hopeful, I guess? I don't know. Maybe because I usually don't have as bad of an experience with LFR as other people do. My LFR experiences usually go pretty well.
Something is limiting my magic. Where are we?
Behind our quarry. Heroes with me!
Nope, can't do any rezzing.
Break out the mob. There's something.
If I see people continue to die to this...
Expanding the maw around Oregon!
You don't even have to take your time, just pay attention.
I've opened the way.
Just use your camera and don't fall through the holes.
She is aiming at our heads!
It's not that complicated or hard.
I shattered your throne. Now I'll break you.
Hey, you're for you.
Oh, good, he left. I was about to say.
Suffering.
With me, champions. Jaina needs our strength.
Thrall, scout ahead. Champions will assist the Admiral.
There's too many of them!
It's not going to make them do any better. That's part of the issue here. That's not exactly helping. That's just you wanting to vent your frustrations. That doesn't make them do it any better.
Thank you, Boba.
And there's the cast. Because we didn't kill ads.
My defenses falter!
The cycle will be broken. At long last, we will have justice.
Could be a long night.
I have many lucky doos if you like.
Well, the other tank left. Alright. Trying to see if I can give some kind of helpful advice to those who are dying by falling off the bridge. It's an easy thing to avoid.
Very well. Death it is! No mercy!
Alright, so I forgot to mention this. This is a debuff that she puts on you. This is the debuff that I was referring to earlier. Apparently I have it now, so I need to get chained by one of those arrows to get rid of it. Otherwise, it's gonna keep hurting. Alright, so now that has, yeah, there's the chains. Alright, so, but you can see that got rid of the debuff. So usually, one of the things that our raid leader will do during this fight when we beat this on normal was he would clarify, okay, those of you who have the debuff get close to the arrows, but not too close so that way it doesn't kill you. Everyone else get away from the arrows and then focus them to help out your friends who need to get, have those arrows destroyed. So that's how it's supposed to work. Now, this of course where, once you get to the end of this phase here, the idea is that there's a chain and arrow for every single player. Which is why it's like, okay, let's go ahead and do this. Again, she's not taking any damage, so there's literally no point to actually doing anything about this fight. It's all about like, okay, let's just go ahead and survive and get to the next phase.
Your lives end here!
And spread out. By the way, we only stay stunned like this for the full 30 seconds if nobody skips the cutscene. Now, if it's your first time seeing the cutscene, you can't skip it. So I imagine for a lot of people, this is their first time seeing it, so they can't skip it. But if you have, you can skip it. So some people will be like, man, why aren't people skipping this?
Something is limiting my magic. Where are we?
Behind our quarry. Heroes with me!
Is the
Okay.
jailer trying to break out of the maw? Or something else?
Yeah, I may get hit by those, but again, taking damage from that is not nearly as big a deal as falling off to your death. Now, those things can move you. I'll even show you. Watch this. You see that? It moved me. So let me show that again. I'm standing still. So yeah, if that hits you on the bridge, it can knock you off to your death, unfortunately.
Sylvanas! The Banshee!
So you gotta be careful about getting hit by that so that way it doesn't push you off the bridge. That I can understand. Oh my gosh, somebody else did fall off. Someone's pet is really far behind.
Your crusade ends here, Banshee.
All hope is lost! Heroes! I need aid! Hear the sound of suffering!
With me, champions! Jaina needs our strength!
Brawl, scout ahead. Champions will assist the Admiral.
The only people who should be rushing over this bridge super fast and not taking their time are the people who need to interrupt her cast.
Champions! Stop Sylvanas!
My defenses falter!
All hope is lost! Hurry! Thrall needs us! Sound of suffering!
Sylvanas means to bring our hands! Stop into these creatures!
Press the attack. The jailer must be stopped.
Their forces are numberless!
Suffer my wrath!
In the dead! Heroes, to me! Let's regroup with Jaina!
We're done with your games.
You will pay! All of you will pay!
for Sourfang!
This time you'll lose, Sylvanas.
I'm with you there, Thrall, for Sourfang and for the Horde.
The jailer is going to destroy the Arbiter!
Alright. Here we go. Third phase once again.
Stop, Sylvanas! Death bends to mine!
Alright, you see that field? That's what allows us to jump from one platform to the other. If I get the mechanic, I'll try to show. She hasn't cast the arrow yet. Alright, go. See what he did just there. Now.
I never miss!
No, get out! Get out! Oh my gosh, this one person here. Alright, now we have to go. Go, 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 go. Alright. So we have to get her health to 50% in order to be able to finish this fight. Fun fact, it turns out it's 45%. Yeah, there we go. There's the bloodlust. This is why you then lust for this one. I probably should have held off on that combat res. No. There we go. Okay, okay. Go, go.
Get my
Arrow, go. You're waiting until the last second. Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh, that was dangerous.
death awaits you! Nothing escapes my wrath.
57%. Okay, this is where we... Okay. Keep 5%. We are almost there.
Nothing escapes my wrath.
Army of the Dead, just what I needed.
open, Zobor! We already have what we need!
Too long I endured the Maker's flawed design. I will forge a new reality where all shall serve.
I will never serve.
Still chained by mortality. You did help restore something stolen from me. Allow me to repay you in kind. To their mercy. Come, be the first to witness reality's end.
Cannot let him reach me.
Okay, so apparently the cutscene went on afterwards. So, fortunately the chat is still here. My loot. So after that cutscene, what's supposed to happen here is a conversation. It says, "The jailer is gone. Wherever that gateway led, it's been sealed behind him." And then Thrall says, "We thought the jailer was coming to slay the Arbiter, but he absorbed her essence. As if her power and the sigil were his all along. Jailer be damned. He's got Anduin. No matter where he's gone, we will find him." Maybe she knows. Yes. Sylvanas said something before she collapsed, but I couldn't make it out. My knights will hold her captive here in Oribos. When she awakens, we can begin the interrogation. For now, we should return to Korthia. Let us hope the Primus can explain the jailer's plan and tell us what must be done to stop him. So, that's what happened afterwards. So Sylvanas, get out of the way, ghoul, lies completely unconscious with her eyes closed, so I can't show her blue eyes that she has now. You know, as much as I've said I've not hate. I mean, let's be honest though. During BFA, I hated Sylvanas. Absolutely hated her. And she's done some other awful stuff in the past as well. She wasn't great, like going back to the days of BC and Wrath. I mean, and of course after Wrath, when we killed the Lich King, she killed herself. Got to see the jailer here, came back, and in Cataclysm onwards was still pretty horrible. She was horrible in Pandaria. She was pretty awful in Warlords. And of course, we know what happened in Legion. Like, there's never been a time period where I've thought Sylvanas hasn't done terrible things. But see, here's the thing, and this is what I have been wondering about and even outright concerned about ever since this came to light. And this is something I was anticipating they were going to do because everybody could see the signs that what they were doing was a Sylvanas redemption arc. Here's what I'm wondering, though. And it really depends on how they decide to handle this, because we still don't know. This is the latest story thing outside of what I showed you before in Korthia when you finished the Chains of Domination campaign, where we just simply go to the Primus and report what happened, and we get the extra little bits of dialogue. We found the compass that Anduin... Is it over here on the platform? Can I show it? Where is it? Is it not here? I like that Jaina, of course, she's a mage. She opens a portal to Oribos for us to use. There's also a death gate here, in case you want to go to another portion of the raid, which I find amusing. But, I find myself wondering, what exactly are they going to do when it comes to how they handle this particular aspect of the story? There's a couple of possible ways to go about this. One is that she was fully cognizant and aware of what she was doing and just didn't care because she didn't have her soul to feel the anger, or not the anger, I'm sorry, it's late, okay? It's all, we've been going at this for almost an hour and a half, and it's now almost... It's 2:30 a.m. in the morning. I'm recording this in the middle of the night, yeah. After working a shift at night. They could, that she doesn't feel the guilt or the sadness of what she's done, and it all starts to hit her. The realization of what she's done. Or could they possibly go the Kerrigan route? Now, for those of you who perhaps have not seen the stuff that I did with StarCraft, and considering I was planning to go through the series again with extra context and extra bits of lore to add to what was going on, what happened with Kerrigan was different. She didn't have her soul ripped out and separated from her body and self like Sylvanas did. Kerrigan was remade and was basically made a prisoner within her own body and mind, while another being that was created, called the Queen of Blades, took control, was basically in the driver's seat. And the real Kerrigan was incapable of stopping anything until Raynor used the Zelnaga artifact to destroy the being that was known as the Queen of Blades, which also the essence of that was captured, the essence of power of that was captured by Duran to be used to resurrect Aemon. But the point is, that being was gone, and therefore Sarah Kerrigan was now back in full control of herself again. Now, whether or not she was fully aware what was going on, it's debatable, because she implies that she's not fully sure herself, because there are bits and pieces she actually does remember, or even claims or to remember, or probably even lies that she remembers, or there's stuff that she just outright doesn't remember at all. It's an interesting aspect to really, when you go through Heart of the Swarm, trying to figure out whether or not she's lying about certain things, about like, oh, I remember this, and trying and determining whether or not she's actually being truthful about that or not. And I don't think it's ever been clarified, even by the writers, whether or not that was whether or not she was lying about whether or not she could remember things or not. Does she not remember anything at all? Does she remember bits and pieces after the traumatic experience that she went through, where perhaps her body and mind just doesn't want to remember because of how horribly traumatic it is? Or does she remember every single bit of it and would rather not want to remember all of it? It was an interesting thing about Kerrigan. And I find myself wondering if that's something they're going to try and somehow do with Sylvanas here. What are they going to do here with this whole Sylvanas' soul has now been returned to her body? Okay, what exactly is going to happen now in regards to her having to answer for the things that she has done. Now, it should be worth noting that the things that she did before BFA is not really something they actually bothered having her answer for. And she did some pretty bad stuff before then. It's only until some of the stuff like BFA, like, Teldrassil, and afterwards that they all of a sudden now want to have her, pay for those things. To which I say, why just Teldrassil and the stuff in BFA? Why not the stuff that happened before that? Like, I'll never forget when we did those Ice Crown dungeons, and she was pretty heartless towards the people who died trying to help us get to the Halls of Reflection to find out about the truth about how to defeat the Lich King. Which is why I always hated doing that dungeon as a Horde character and only liked doing it as an Alliance character. Because again, going through that with Jaina is wonderful. Plus you get a whole bunch of extra dialogue and lore with both Uther and Jaina. With Sylvanas, it's kind of silly and nonsensical and ridiculous and just not meaningful enough compared to if you're there with Jaina. Because of the connection that Jaina and Uther have with Arthas. And with each other. It's funny that when we, in the previous, a couple of videos ago, when we saw the two of them have their little conversation in Korthia about the last time they met was actually in Stratholme, I just realized that's technically not true. I mean, in some ways it actually is, but this is where the complications of the whole splitting of the soul by a Mournblade comes into play. Because remember, Frostmourne did this to both Uther and Sylvanas. And what Uther said during that whole questline about what happened to his soul is an indication of what they may be doing with Sylvanas, of what happened to her. That what happened to Uther also happened to Sylvanas. But I just also find myself remembering that, yeah, the two of them talked in the Halls of Reflection, but was that really Uther we spoke to? I mean, I guess you could say that was part of his soul, because we know that part of it did get absorbed into Frostmourne. But does Jaina not remember that? Or is it because I'm on a Horde character that the game didn't remember that? Because I find myself wondering, if I played an Alliance character, would they say the same thing? Or would they say something like, I haven't seen you since, the Halls of Reflection, when you warned me about Arthas and the Lich King. Like, that would be nice for them to acknowledge that that's what happened, because at this point, it would be like, okay, do you two not remember when you spoke in the Halls of Reflection? But then again, I guess this version of Uther would not remember, but Jaina should. Jaina should remember that and should tell this version of Uther that we have met here in the Shadowlands, hey, by the way, I met the other part of your soul that was in the Frostmourne Blade while we were there in Icecrown. And boy, did that help us out against the Lich King. Like, I would like that to be acknowledged in dialogue. Just saying, just to acknowledge those particular aspects of the continuity is all I'm saying. I don't know, maybe I hope and ask for too much, but I just love it when little touches like that are done to really add to that aspect of, the story. Especially when it's a story that has different choices. This is something I love in games like Mass Effect or Dragon Age, when choices like that are then acknowledged within the dialogue, and, that the game actually acknowledges those choices. That it tries to account for all these different possible choices that you made in the game, and has things in the game to acknowledge those various different choices, regardless of any different kind of combination of choices that you could have possibly come up with. It's one of the things I loved about going through games like Dragon Age Inquisition, to seeing how many of the choices you made for both Origins and 2 would carry over. Same thing with games like Mass Effect 3 and so on and so forth. You get my point. Even Witcher 3 as well had some of those kinds of choices, though not nearly that much, but I hope my point is being made here. I like it when they go the extra mile when it comes to little bits of dialogue and detail, acknowledging those kinds of, little differences. It's a nice touch, and I appreciate when it's done, and hope it gets continued to be done in other games, including a game like this. But that's just me. I'm surprised this other guy is still here. He must have just gone AFK or something, because he's just apparently just AFK in Horde posts. So, probably took the portal from Jaina, but anyways. So, that is the entire Sanctum of Domination raid in LFR. Again, if you're going to try this fight, I highly recommend, please, just, for the sake of yourself and your team, just try and survive this fight, or this phase, excuse me, with some of these. Remember the stuff with the chains and whether or not you get the debuff to try and remove it, but in LFR it really didn't do that much. And then when she starts to put all of them over there, just go ahead and survive that encounter. You can see 83% health, she chains all players. At that point you just, because you can see here, Banshee Shroud, it reduced their damage by 99%, so just don't even bother attacking, just survive to get to the next phase. Which of course then is this whole thing here of just running through the gauntlet. Use your camera to try and avoid falling off the bridge or falling through the holes that the bridge usually may have. Because Jaina and Thrall are not that great at making bridges, apparently. So there are going to be probably going to be holes there. Use your camera to see them and avoid them. If you get hit by the wave, it's not a big deal. It may slightly move you, but it's not going to kill you. It doesn't do that much damage, especially in LFR. Just, even if you are going to get hit by the wave that she shoots out, don't worry about it. It's not as bad as falling off to your death. Okay? If you want to help move forward to be able to make sure you get the timers for interrupting the Ruin cast, focus on the big ads, the big ones with the most health, because the faster you kill those, the faster the bridges will spawn to allow you to get to those timers faster. It's a race. It is a race to do stuff like that. And then when you get to this final phase, just kind of, try and survive, avoid the AoE stuff that she does. If you have the arrow cast on you, just walk over and have it send you to the other platform, so that way it goes off away from your raid group. And that's basically all you really need to focus on if you're going to help do this fight correctly. Now, I imagine, this is just LFR. You're going to have a rougher time if you do this on normal, heroic, and mythic. Yeah, it took us a number of, some tries on normal, but it really wasn't that bad in terms of the difference. As I said, we haven't even gotten to her on heroic yet. As far as heroic, the farthest we have gotten is, I got to Guardian. I haven't killed Guardian yet, but my guild did. They got to Fate Scribe, so they are focusing on trying to do the Fate Scribe fight. More than likely, I will not be joining them because that usually happens on the second night, and these days I have only been able to join them for the first night of the raid, which will be tomorrow night. And we've been getting good enough to be able to get through 6 bosses. Last week we got through the first 6 on heroic, before we called it a night, and then they focused on Guardian Fate Scribe the following night, and I have to be at work on the second night, so I can't join them for that. So hopefully they'll be able to take down Guardian Fate Scribe and then work on Kel'Thuzad. I've heard heroic Sylvanas is actually pretty rough. That's all I've heard. I haven't looked into the mechanics of it because I honestly don't know when I'm going to get to actually participate or experience this fight on heroic. So, but anyways, this has gone on long enough. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. I have no idea what the next part of this playthrough is going to be in terms of story content or anything like that. Who knows? Maybe they'll add something in patch 9.1.5. They're adding customization stuff, but I don't know if there's any story content that's going to be added to this when that patch comes out. Whenever it comes out, who knows? Obviously, the stuff going on with, the allegations and all that stuff is no doubt going to affect the time for more content to come out. should be expected. So, I personally don't mind. I actually have not have been I haven't been having as bad of a time in this patch as other people apparently have. I understand the high level frustrations for things like sockets and such, but I've been enjoying this patch and this tier. This is a more fun raid to play through than Nathria was, in my opinion, for me personally. And I personally don't mind. Plus, it's going to give me more time to work on alts and other stuff. Yeah, so I'm going to continue enjoying this for what it is, until the next portion, but I'm not exactly demanding for more new content like other people apparently are, because they just want to get out of this current state of the game. But I have been enjoying this current state of the game personally, but that's just me, I don't expect other people to enjoy it, because I'm not going to put that on them. We all enjoy the game in our own way. I'm enjoying it, others are not. That's just how it is, So, I wouldn't mind seeing, them perhaps add a little something in terms of perhaps Sylvanas waking up, and we get to actually, see and hear the interrogation of Sylvanas and finding out what's going on, and to decide what her fate's going to be. What is, she can't get off completely scot-free for what she's done. Unless they do something, like I said, involving, the way they did with Kerrigan, but that was kind of a different set of circumstances. But who knows? I'm just saying. She murdered a lot of innocent people. And that's not something that we can just ignore. At least I don't think we can. I'm sure there are people that perhaps feel different, but yeah. I'll see you guys next time.